From Kezar Stadium, it's the Minnesota Vikings and the San Francisco 49ers. That's Fred Cox kicking off for the Vikings. Out of the end zone, it'll be 1st and 10. 49ers ball on their own 20. NFL play-by-play report. The Minnesota Vikings and the San Francisco 49ers. John Brody to Ken Willard. 4-yard gain before Larson and Marshall bring him down. 2nd and 6 in the 24. John David Crow is number 44. Ken Willard, number 40. That's Crow with the ball. Rip Hawkins with Mr. Crow. A gain of 1 yard in the play. And now on 4th and 10 in the 20. Tommy Davis back to punt. Gets it off, but it's not a very long punt. 26 yards. And the Minnesota Vikings have the ball in good field position here early in the ball game. Fran Tarkenton at quarterback for the Vikings. Scrambling away. Passing to Paul Flatley. 21-yard gain in the play. 49ers interference declined by the Vikings. 1st and 10 in the 25. Vikings ball. In slow motion, that's Tommy Mason. Going to the outside. 4-yard gain in the play. But the penalty flag goes down. And the Vikings are penalized 15 yards for clipping. And now on 2nd and 21 in the 36, Tarkenton. He has to get out of there and can't. Clark Miller brings him down for a 12-yard loss. Now on 3rd and 33 in the 48. No score in this ball game. Fran Tarkenton. Pressure is on, but he can scramble. Passes deep. Red Phillips, but it's broken up on a fine play by Kimbrough. Play is called back, and the 49ers penalized for offsides. Now on 3rd down, Tarkenton to Hal Bedsole, and the former Trojan star gets 8 yards. Now on 4th down and 17 in the 32, Fred Cox will attempt a field goal from the 39-yard line. Short, and it remains a scoreless ball game. 49ers ball, 1st and 10 in the 20. That's John David Crow. Howard Mudd, fine block as he goes for 14 yards before he's bumped out of bounds. 49ers in possession. No score. 1st and 10 in the 34. In slow motion, watch John Brody to Bernie Casey. George Rose making the stop. 2nd and 5 on the 39. 49ers looking for their 4th win. John David Crow. Howard Mudd again blocking. 10 yards, another 1st down. 2nd and 13 in the 46. 80-degree weather here at Kezar Stadium. Brody for Dave Parks. 18 yards before Lee Callan drove him out of bounds. 49ers now in Viking territory. 2nd and 10 in the 36. Scoreless ball game. Brody passing deep. Bernie Casey has got his man beat. He's in there for a touchdown. 80 yards in 7 plays. And the 49ers lead the ball game 7-0. Tommy Davis set to kick off. Dave Osborne, number 41, waiting for the ball, fumbles it, and that's Billy Barnes picking it up. Gets away from one tackler. And a nice return by Billy. It'll be 1st and 10 for the Vikings on their own 26. Fran Tarkenton to Paul Flatley for 12 yards. Jerry Mertens making the tackle. 2nd and 7 on the 41. 49ers lead it 7-0. Fran Tarkenton on the screen to Tommy Mason. And Tommy Gets away from one tackler and drives upfield for 8 yards. And now on 4th down, Fred Cox will try a field goal from the 45. It's short. Kermit Alexander with the ball. And out of bounds across the 20-yard line. 49ers 1st and 10 on the 20. They lead by a score of 7-0. That's Ken Willard. 10 yards. Now on 2nd down, John Brody on the screen to Willard. Got a good block from Monty Stickles, and he's off to the races for 15 yards. 1st and 10 in the 48. 49ers leading. John David Crow gets a good block away from tacklers, and he goes for 28 yards before Bargo got him. Now on 2nd down as the action continues. Brody. Bernie Casey all by himself for a touchdown. 80 yards in 7 plays, and the 49ers have a 14-0 lead, and these pretty young ladies at Kezar Stadium are happy. Tommy Davis kicking off. Hall waiting, fumbles the ball, but he recovers on the 12-yard line. Now on 2nd down, Tom Mason looking for blocking. Fumbles the ball, and Kermit Alexander recovers for the 49ers on the 9-yard line. As the first quarter ends, 49ers leading 14-0. Have another scoring opportunity. Brody for Parks. No good. But Lee Calland is called for interference, and the 49ers have a 1st and goal on the 1. Ken Willard. He's in there for a touchdown. And the 49ers have a 3-touchdown lead, 21-0, here early in the 2nd quarter. Vikings ball, 1st and 10 in the 30. Fran Tarkenton passing for Bill Brown. Threading his way down the sidelines, a gain of 47 yards before he's brought down. 1st down now for the Vikings. Fighting back, they trail 21-0. Tommy Mason. And Tommy gets 8 yards. Now it's 2nd down and 2 on the 14. That's Tommy Mason on the quick handoff. 7 yards and a 1st down. 1st and goal in the 7. Mason following the blocking of Bill Brown. Lee takes him out of there, and Mason is in there for a touchdown. Now the score is the 49ers 21, the Vikings 7. After forcing the 49ers to punt, the Vikings again have the ball. 2nd and 6 in the 16. Tarkenton scrambling out of there. And he got 6 yards, but the play was nullified. The Vikings penalized. Now on 2nd down and long yardage. Mason. Hit. Fumbles. And that's Jack Chappell picking up the ball in the 8 and going in for a touchdown. The Vikings can't hold on to the ball. The 49ers can. 28-7. Now it's 1st and 10 again for the Vikings on their own 20. Fran Tarkenton trying to get his team back in the ball game. Paul Flatley, a good catch. Jerry Mertens making the tackle. 1st and 10 in the 42. Fran Tarkenton gonna have to get out of there. Passing for Bill Brown. He's pushed out of bounds, but after a 16-yard gain. Vikings trailing 28-7. Their ball. Brown booming up the middle for plenty of yardage. 18. And now it's 1st and goal to go on the 8. Tommy Mason. He goes for 7 yards. 2nd and goal on the 1. Again, the call is to Mason. He's in there for a touchdown. 80 yards in 5 plays. And now it's 28 for the 49ers, 14 for the Vikings. Ken Willard, fine ball carrier for the 49ers. Going for 7 yards. 2nd and 3 in the 31. John Brody having a good year. To Bernie Casey for 11 yards. 2nd and 10 in the 42. Just a little over a minute remaining in the first half. Brody on the screen to Willard. Nice move by Ken Willard, breaking away from the tacklers. 58 seconds remaining in the first half. 49ers lead it 28-14. Brody to Dave Kopay for 18 yards. And now there's 45 seconds remaining. 1st and 10 in the 29. John Brody taking his team downfield. To Dave Parks. Watch Parks in this fine move. Getting away for 8 yards. 35 seconds remaining here in the first half. 49ers lead it 28-14. An exciting ball game at Kezar Stadium. John Brody. Passing deep. Bernie Casey all by himself in the end zone. 49ers 35, Minnesota 14. Fine halftime performance here at Kezar Stadium. Crowd in this sunny afternoon, 80-degree temperature, enjoying it. Tommy Davis kicking off. Dave Osborne waiting for the ball. He juggles it and keeps it. Good return of 22 yards before Jim Johnson bumped him out of bounds. And now on 2nd down, 11 on the 27. Fran Tarkenton. Good time. Passes to Mason. Fine move by Tommy Mason. Former Tulane star going upfield for 35 yards before Kermit Alexander finally stopped him. Now on 2nd and 8 on the 36. Tarkenton. His team trailing. Jim Phillips. He was hit hard by Johnson, but he gained 8 yards and a first down. The action continues on 2nd and 10 on the 27. Tommy Mason. Good runner for the Minnesota Vikings. Kimbrough making the stop. 1st and 10 now on the 16. Bill Brown, the ball carrier. 4 yards in the play. Now on 3rd and goal on the 10. Tarkenton quickly to Bedsole for a touchdown. 72 yards in 11 plays. And it's the 49ers 35. The Minnesota Vikings 21. '49ers ball, 1st and 10 on the 20. They lead 35-21. Brody for Dave Parks. 9 yards. Penalty marker down. Defensive holding. It's declined. And it's 1st and 10 now on the 34 as the action continues. Ken Willard banging up the middle for 4 yards. 2nd and 6 in the 38. John Brody taking his team downfield. To Parks. Dave Parks, 27 yards before Sharachman wrestles him out of bounds. 1st and 10 now on the 35. 49ers ball, Vikings territory. Ken Willard. He powers for 7 yards. And now it's 2nd and 3 on the 28. Brody directing his team. To Monty Stickles. Rip Hawkins coming in to make the stop. Now on 2nd and 10 in the 24. Again, John Brody taking to the air. Dave Parks. Brody called for holding, and the 49ers were penalized 15 yards from the point of the foul. 3rd and 34 on the 42. John Brody. Again passing. Kay McFarland. Good catch. He's out of bounds after a 12-yard gain. Now on 4th down on the 22, Tommy Davis tries a field goal from the 37. Brody holding. It's in there, and the 49ers lead 38-21. Vikings ball, 3rd and 7 on the 21. Tarkenton, with his team trailing, hits Hal Bedsole for 10 yards. Interference called, but refused. 2nd and 10. Fran Tarkenton for Paul Flatley. Good grab by Flatley. Kimbrough making the stop. And it's 1st and 10 on the 47. Fran Tarkenton scrambling around, throwing deep for Red Phillips. Broken up by Jim Johnson. But the penalty marker went down. Defensive interference called, and the Vikings have a 1st down on the 21. Now it's 1st and 10 on the 21. Tommy Mason on the handoff. Gets good blocking. And scampers in there easily for a touchdown. Sunday and Bowie throwing blocks for him on the way. And now the score is 38 for the 49ers, 28 for the Minnesota Vikings. 49ers surrender the ball on a punt, and now the Vikings are on the move again. 1st and 10 in the 40. Tarkenton scrambling out of there and throwing for Paul Flatley. Paul Flatley, the former Northwestern star. 43-yard gain in the play before Mertens could wrestle him down. And the Vikings have come storming back. 1st and 10 now on the 17. Tarkenton for Bedsole, but he can't hang on to the ball. Now on 3rd and 7 on the 14. Fran Tarkenton getting away from one tackler, passing to Paul Flatley for a touchdown. And now it's the 49ers 38, the Vikings 35. Fred Cox kicking off. Exciting ball game here at Kezar Stadium. Alexander downing it for a touchback, and it's 1st and 10 now on the 20. Ken Willard for 7 yards as the quarter ends. The pretty girls, still pretty, but not quite as happy. 2nd down, 3 to go, 49ers ball. John David Crow, and that's Marshall coming in, an 8-yard loss on the play. 3rd and 11 on the 19. John Brody throwing deep. Dave Parks in Vargo after the ball. Now it'll be 4th and 11 on the 19. Tommy Davis back to punt. Tommy Mason waiting for that football. Doesn't get back very far. Return of 3 yards. So it's 1st and 10 now on the 38. Fran Tarkenton passing deep for Smith. Nice save by Kermit Alexander. Now it's 2nd and 10 in the 38. Tommy Mason. He has 4 yards. And it's 3rd and 6 in the 42. Fran Tarkenton passing deep for Paul Flatley. A fine move on the part of Flatley. He's in there for a touchdown. And the Minnesota Vikings take the lead over the 49ers, 42-38. Freddie Cox kicking off. Gary Lewis waiting for the football. He has it. A return of 25 yards. 1st and 10 now for the 49ers on their own 28. Now they have to come from behind. John Brody passing long for Bernie Casey, but he can't catch up with the ball. 2nd and 10 in the 28. Brody to John David Crow. Kasolke coming in to lead the tacklers. No gain in the play. 3rd and 10 in the 28. 42 Minnesota, 38 San Francisco. Brody for Parks. 21-yard gain in the play. And that cost him 15 yards. Unsportsmanlike conduct on the bench. 1st and 20 on the 33. Brody to Willard. Big Ken Willard. He can ramble with that ball. Fumble, and Warwick recovered for the Vikings. However, the 49ers held. They took over. And now on 4th down and 5 on the 49, Tommy Davis is back to punt, but it's a fake. And he's off to the races for 20 yards. And the Vikings were assessed an additional 15 yards for a personal foul. And now it's 1st and 10 in the 16. Vikings lead 42-38. John David Crow gets 3 yards. 2nd and 7 and 13. John Brody for Parks in the end zone for an apparent touchdown, but hold it, there's a flag on the play. And the 49ers are penalized for offensive interference. And now on 2nd and 22 and the 28. Brody again taking to the air for Parks. 13 yards. But on 4th down and 9 and the 15, Tommy Davis tries a field goal from the 22. It's through there. Minnesota 42, San Francisco 41. Action continues here in the 4th quarter. 2nd and 7 in the 30. Vikings, Tommy Mason, fumble. And the 49ers recover. Alexander recovers on the Vikings 41-yard line. And this game is not over yet. 1st and 10 in the 41. Ken Willard for 5 yards. 2nd and 5 on the 36. Brody taking to the air for Dave Parks for 12 yards. Now on 1st down, John Brody with his team trailing 42-41. Passes long for Bernie Casey. Intercepted by Vargo on the 5-yard line. And the Vikings, in a sensational comeback, win this thrilling ball game 42-41.